Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the podcast. We're back for another episode, and I'm welcomed by my co-host Elijah.
Hello!
And today we are talking about WandaVision and the future of Marvel. So, to start all this out, I am a really big fan of this new series that we're getting on Disney Plus. I think it's a really good show. Episode 3 was probably the best one yet, since they kind of brought back in the MCU a little bit, talking about Wanda's brother, and they're starting to show the outside world of this reality that she's created. What is your take on this, Elijah?
Yes.
Just in one word. That's all he has to say. Yes.
Podcast over. Thank you for coming. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, add to your favorite videos, playlist. No, I really like it, and I'm very, very into it so far. Scarlet Witch has always been like one of my favorite Marvel characters. So I was very excited to know that she was like getting extra content like from the get go.
Yeah, I mean, I like Vision a lot. I liked his introduction in Age of Ultron. And I really wish that he had a longer run than what he did, but I'm glad that they're putting him back in the MCU. Even though I don't even know if it's like the actual Vision. I mean, there's no telling if it's really him or if this is just like a mirage that she has put in her own reality.
Yeah, that's like one of my biggest questions right now for the whole like shebang of the Marvel series, or the Marvel, like just the whole universe, since this is like really all we have right now. Is this like a new reality version of Vision, or is this just like a dream of Vision? Is this Vision? Is this, like what are we really dealing with here as far as Vision?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what the plans are, because you can still see the Mind Stone in his forehead, which we all know that Thanos removed that in Infinity War. So
expertly, with so much grace.
I feel like it's just a mirage, because if it was Vision in the present time, because that's where this takes place, I'm pretty sure that this series is supposed to take place after Endgame.
Yeah,
and
it is.
We didn't have Vision in Endgame, so if I had to guess, it's just a mirage that she created, because he still has the Mind Stone in his forehead. If he didn't, that would bring more questions to me, as to think that maybe it's really him and they just brought him back in a different way.
Okay, so the reason I think he has the Mind Stone is, and this is just completely like off the top of my head just now, like while we're recording this, but in Infinity War, when he gets the stone ripped out of his forehead, Wanda's not in Wakanda, is she? Or is she?
Yeah, she was there beside him. Because the first time, she's the one that blew the stone out of his head and killed him, and then Thanos turned back time and ripped it out of his head.
Right. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Because she's like, you took everything from me in Endgame, and he's like, I only know who you are.
Yeah.
She's like, you will. It's my favorite line of that whole movie.
And I feel like the villain of this show is Mephisto.
Oh, yeah.
You would agree, right?
Most definitely. Most definitely. At first, I was thinking, the first episode, I didn't know what to think. I didn't really know if we were even going to have a villain. It was just going to be like Wanda, like slowly going crazy and more crazier and crazier and crazier. And it kind of seems like, especially now with the third episode, that is a very big possibility. With like the Monica Rambeau lady, or whatever her name is, whoever she's supposed to be.
In the show, she's called Geraldine.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure she's really Monica Rambeau in reality.
That's what you were saying earlier, and it's a good point too, because in the show, Agnes, or whatever her name is talking to Vision, and she's like, she has no home, no address, no family, no friends,
and
no
Agnes
real name.
Agnes is kind of supposed to be a villain, right?
Well, if you were like, if the random everyday average Joe were to watch the show, I don't think you would get that vibe from her.
Or is she more like trying to protect Wanda?
At this point,
because it seems like she's trying to be friends with Wanda, but I don't know.
From my perspective, I think I either think that she is she's either helping Wanda to some extent, but I think maybe she's doing it for some kind of reason.
For her own benefit.
Right, like for her own benefit. So maybe she's in trouble with like Mephisto or something, and Mephisto's like, hey, bring me Wanda.
Yeah, it could be like Mephisto's sidekick.
Right. And you've had some interesting theories about who you think Mephisto is. Why don't you go ahead and talk about that? And
then I thought originally that Mephisto might be, well, they called him Ralph, but I think that he actually has a different name in the show.
The dude with the mustache?
It's the black guy.
Oh, the black guy.
The neighbor. I'm pretty sure it's their neighbor. And I want to say that he might be Mephisto because Agnes in the show says that he looks better in the dark. And I think that's a reference to he's working in the shadows.
Right.
And they don't really say much to him that much. They don't really talk to him that much.
Not as much.
And there's also theories that, like you said, he might be Dr. Voodoo.
Yeah, I haven't seen any theories that say that yet, but I've kind of been going down the compendium of fucking African American superheroes, because like when you sit and try to think of like how many there are that can fit this role, there's not many. And then you have to remember, well, it's 2021, so a black comic book character doesn't have to be black in the comics, or a male character doesn't have to be male, or you know, so on and so forth. Hell, Rocket Raccoon could be Rocket Hippo like in the next couple years for all we know. So I really don't know, but if I think they were going to go for just like kind of an easy kind of cast, there's a black character, well, let's get a black guy to play him. That's, in my brain, that's pretty, easy to stitch together. And one of the characters that immediately came to my head when thinking about African American characters that are kind of Doctor Strangey, kind of, Wanda, Scarlet Witchy kind of type people is Dr. Voodoo, which is a voodoo priest with superpowers pretty much. Yeah,
they're like mythical type people, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like a demigod type of Hercules thing.
Underworld type vibes.
Right.
I have two different theories on Ralph kind of using the hedge clippers to drill into the wall. So I told you earlier that I think that is either just a reference to S.H.I.E.L.D. trying to break down that barrier to get into her reality.
Right.
Or it's Mephisto trying to break down that barrier to get inside that reality. And I also feel like, these 3 episodes have all kind of been centered around the kids, because the first 2 episodes, it kept, whenever they were in the room, or in the dining room with Vision's boss, he kept asking them, why don't y'all have kids?
Banging on the table.
He was
the kids? Where's the kid? Where are you from?
And
where are you from?
The second episode was the talent show, and the blonde-haired lady kept saying it's for the kids, and then everybody in sync was like, for the kids.
There's also a part of the second episode, like right in the beginning, I believe, where the trees like knocking on the wood.
Yeah.
Well, when that scene ends, Wanda pushes the beds together.
Yep.
And Vision's like, I like what you've done. I like the remodeling choices or whatever. And she snaps or whatever, and the beds become one bed. And they go, or Vision's like, Wanda, why don't you turn off the lights?
Yeah, that
might have been the contraception of, the twins or whatever.
Yeah. So in the third episode, we get the twins, and I think Mephisto, just my theory of him being the villain, I think that he wants the kids so that he can manipulate them and do what he wants with them.
Right.
Because, from my understanding, they're supposed to be some pretty powerful kids.
Right. One of them, Wiccan, is basically just a male Scarlet Witch. But the thing about the kids that's pretty cool is in the comics, I don't know the full story and like all the details, but from what I've seen or what I heard in a video that I was listening to while I was playing Call of Duty, said that something about the kids, like right after the dream or the reality ends, that they were like reborn as like less demonic little shits. So that might be like that might be like something that happens like after this. Maybe like that's what season 2 is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Wanda and Vision trying to like rescue the kids from that dimension.
Yeah.
That might be like the end of Paul Bettany's arc, is like, I'm gonna stay here for the children and fight Mephisto, and you just get back to the real world and help them out. And God, I'm already crying.
Now, I think the highlight of episode 3 is when Monica Rambeau spills the beans and says,
yes,
that your brother died from Ultron.
God, when the
And
world...
that gave me goosebumps.
Oh,
It made me
yeah.
realize that we are still in the MCU and not just some happy-go-lucky TV show.
Yeah, I realized the Brady Bunch was not what was on the TV screen at that very moment. Another thing about just the whole, like, way the show was, like, filmed and stuff like that, the way it's going through, like, the different decades of TV.
Yeah, they're changing, like, the video graphics.
Each episode is like a decade of TV.
Yeah, it's like better camera
really,
angles, better
yeah.
effects.
Yeah, if you watch the very first episode when like Wanda's cooking, and then you watch the third episode, it looks like things hanging from strings, and then it looks like perfect CGI. Like actually looks like they're using like real superpowers, and that is such a cool little like note.
Yeah, Marvel was doing a really good job with the details.
Yeah, oh yeah, and I have a theory about that. About why it's changing every decade. So, okay. So in Age of Ultron, Wanda talks about how when she was little, the bomb fell and didn't go off, so they sat there for days looking at the Stark logo. So she was out of confinement, out of Hydra confinement for a little while. So she went into that confinement at probably a young age. Well, what do kids like to do to pass time?
TV.
They like to watch TV. So when she was sitting in those cells that we see at the end of, what, Captain America or something?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember, I barely remember, like you see 2 cells at the end of one of the Captain America movies, or maybe it's one of the Avenger movies.
I think it might have been the first. No, it wasn't the first Avenger movie, because that was at the end of that was yeah. So I would say it might have been the second Iron Man.
It might have. That makes sense. I don't remember, but you see them in those 2 little cells, and she's, you know, doing her stuff with the blocks, and Petro's running back and forth. I don't remember if they have TVs in those cells, but what I've been thinking is like, what if these decades of TV, because we don't know how long she's been kept up. You know, if she's 30, that's 3 decades worth of TV shows. That's a lot of TV.
Yeah. To
like be able to pull from and, you know, do all this. Because if you think about it, I was born in 99, and in 2021, God knows how many shows there are for you to like pull through and like pull from to get all these like little references and stuff. Let alone 20. When was this show started filming? Probably like 19, end of 19. So from like when TV started till, we'll just say 2019. From when TV started to the 2019. That's the whole gap they have to pull from as far as like TV shows and like all this historical like TV history. But to get back to the theory, I think that this world is portrayed in that way because when she was captured and she was in that captivity, that was her escape. She was allowed to have that little bit of Brady Bunch. That little bit of, you know, Andy Griffith. Yeah. That little,
just to watch TV.
Yeah, that little bit of just, I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense in a really fucked up way. You know, if you're a big Nazi organization, like poking and prodding little mutant girl, and you want her to like keep quiet and like be okay, give her some TV and some like sweets and, you know.
I mean, they could have been using the TV for experiment reasons. Maybe it would alter the way that she would do certain things, or maybe it would.
There's no telling like what the reasoning is for like the structure of the way they're filming and like the just like the overall structure of the show. But it's important. That's all I know. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I feel like every single thing that goes on in this show has some kind of meaning behind it, because Marvel is just so good at doing that.
There's nothing in that show, like we were talking about it earlier, about how like being you both will watch the show and then immediately go to YouTube to look at theories and like Easter eggs and stuff like that
all the time.
It is such a good feeling to watch that show and to like get the Easter eggs like mid watch and like have to do a little like pause and jump around a little bit, like, oh my god, they referenced that. That's so cool. One of the big things episode 3 that kind of invoked that reaction was I think everybody knew that Wanda was gonna have babies and like most likely gonna have twins, like since the comics. And I didn't really watch a lot of the trailers, so I don't know if they showed the twins in the trailers. But the moment where she gives birth and she's like, oh, you know...
Yeah, she went through a 9-month pregnancy in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was... I don't know if that was better or worse for her or not. Maybe that's why she's freaking the hell out, because she's had twins in the matter of like a day and a half. Not even that. But one of the things that made me real happy is like, she gave birth to the baby. Vision shows up. He's like, oh, I missed it. And then she's like, you want to meet your baby with like your actual face? So he like dehumanizes, or whatever you want to call it. And he's like, oh, you know, blah, 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 some really sweet, sappy shit. And Wanda's like, yeah, and just starts screaming again in agony because there's another baby coming. And that made me so happy. I like, my jaw was just in my chest. I was like, God, thank God for twins in this.
Yeah.
In this,
I found it interesting how Vision displayed some of his powers in front of that doctor.
Yeah, that.
And it was just bypassed because of the pregnancy was like the more important thing going on.
The doctor was like, well, I guess for plot reasons, I'm okay with this.
Yeah. And then he mentioned, whenever he was leaving the house, he mentioned something about needing to escape. I wonder what his role is.
Yes. That was so weird, man. Him, the doctor... Like, the whole time, I was just like, oh, this is just, like, you know, some extra character that's, like, just here for the baby. But then, no, he leaves the house, and he's like, yeah, man, we really need to escape. I could really use a getaway, Vision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Like, none of this is real, motherfucker. Like, that's all he was saying, and it was so cool for Marvel to take a character that was like, oh, yeah, it's just some doctor, like, who gives a shit? And you then see, at the end, it's like, I want more of him now.
And you see, that's like another reason why I think that Vision might be alive, because why else would he be telling Vision that and not Wanda?
Yeah,
because
that's a good point.
Because if Vision's not even real, there would be no reason for him to tell Vision that.
Okay, so this is the thing about Vision, is he's not really real anyway. He's basically just a stone in a computer program, right?
Yeah, he's an android.
So theoretically, you should be able to just reboot him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the thing, is, like, since he is a robot, they just needed to remove the stone.
Right.
So that he would be operational. So I don't know what kind of power the stone possessed over his, computer system. Because they said if they couldn't remove the stone in a certain procedure, that they couldn't bring him back, which I don't understand if he's just a robot. Maybe there's something that I just don't know about Vision. I mean, I'm not the bigger Marvel head like you are.
I mean, no, that makes sense, though. I don't understand.
I think Vision's still alive, because if you go
based on what you just said, I do too now.
If you go back to Infinity War, they obviously say if we can remove the stone from his head... the better parts of Vision will be there, or could possibly be there.
They also say that anything killed by the snap can't be brought back. Or no, can be brought back.
Well, Vision didn't die from the snap.
That's what I'm saying, is the people who died from the snap can come back, or they can't?
They can. If you died from the snap, you come back.
You were brought back, but the people who died before that are shit out of luck.
Yeah,
that was the problem with, like, Loki, and that's why he, like...
Yeah, but I think that...
I was gonna say.
Well, I think that Loki is a different story, because since he's
the trickster god, and in the comics he can't die anyway, because him and Death like have a deal or something like that.
Yeah, just for like mythological reasons, I don't think Loki's dead, and I don't think that Vision is dead, because Well, he's a robot. I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like he would be too easy to bring back. If they ever wanted him to come back, it's just like, okay, well, we'll just do a little computer work to him, and
Yeah,
here he
Jarvis
is.
just. Well, no, there is no more Jarvis because Paul Bettany was always Jarvis.
Yeah.
He was the voice.
They just made Jarvis a person. That's really all they did.
That's pretty much all they did.
But yeah, now that I think about it, when the Doctor was talking to Vision, I do think that Vision is still alive.
This would be so lame. This would be such a shitty plot development. But what if, like, in the new, like, verse or whatever, we've been talking about the probability of, like, an Iron Heart or an Iron Lad or, you know, some Iron family.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Iron or War Machine takes up that mantle for a while. What if one of them visits Tony's new house on the lake to, like, say hey to the kid or something, and they go in his room and they find a flash drive that says Jarvis backup? They could just make a new Vision or, like, re-embed his memories into something. Like,
Yeah.
God, that would be so terrible, but I want it to happen though, just in case Paul Bettany can't come back. Because I really like his Vision. He does a good job as Vision.
Yeah, he does do a really good job. You said that you think the blonde chick is
Yes.
Mephisto.
I think solely for the reason that I either think, okay, so it's one of two possibilities. I think either the blonde lady is Mephisto, just for the fact that she's evil, like she's real mean, evil white lady, you know? And then her husband, which is the dude with the mustache, I can't remember his name, I think he may be Death. Or it's flip-flopped.
Yeah, possibly.
Because in the comics, Death is not really someone they're kind of lazy and just kind of let death happen, and then they're like, okay, well, you know, I gotta handle this now since you're dead. But before they die, you know, there's no, like, interaction. So I think the dude with the mustache, since he's kind of just like, and one of the hints I think maybe kind of hinting at him just being kind of like a whatever type, whatever happens, is when she comes into the blonde lady, when she comes into the living room, she's like, do these earrings make me look fat? And the power goes off, and he goes, thank God. It's just kind of that, like, extra little, like, he doesn't, I mean, I get it's kind of a joke of, like, you know, oh, married men, I don't want to tell my wife she looks fat in them earrings, but it's, I mean, if you look at it the way we're going to look at it as, like, fans, and
it's
like,
a certain type of chemistry that they have.
right, and from our point of view, not knowing if these two characters even, if we don't know that they fuck, we don't know that they're married, we don't know that they even know each other's last name. So they might just be playing this up, and if you look at it at that perspective of just two people playing characters, when he says, you know, oh, thank God, it's a more of a seriousness than it is when a husband says it to a wife. It's like, fuck, I really am glad I don't have to have this conversation, because I just don't want to talk to you. Not this conversation again. Honey, please stop asking me this.
Yeah. So I have 3 different, like, theories, I guess, of who Mephisto is as a specific character. Now, he could be any of them. He could
be all of them.
Yeah, I mean, he could
be
just
every single person on the show other than one.
Yeah, he could just transfer
the
himself to every different character. I mean, if he really wanted to, but
we know at least WandaVision, Wiccan, and Speed, and Monica, they are those people.
And I think Agnes is Agnes.
Agnes is Agnes, yes.
Now,
well, not Agnes, Agatha.
Yeah. So, I believe, well, there's 3 different things that I have a theory of. So, Agnes, I'm trying to pick the people that she's kind of getting a chemistry with other than Wanda and Vision. I think that she has chemistry with the black guy, who could possibly be Mephisto.
We need to look up his name. We can't just keep saying black guy.
And I I want to say Ralph, but I don't know if that's his real name.
I thought that was the mustache guy. That's why I kept saying Black.
It could be. So, I have a feeling that he could be Mephisto, the blonde girl.
Right.
We need to remember her name so we don't keep calling her the blonde girl.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't say blonde girl and people go, hey, Grime.
Well, I don't know. Is there any other blonde people in the show? I don't think so.
No, there's not.
I believe that she could possibly be Mephisto, but I've also kind of got like this kind of shot in the dark that it could be the mailman. Because
I've seen theories
in the first
talking about
episode,
this.
it might have been the first episode, maybe the second.
I think. Well, it was one of them.
Agnes had like a short conversation with the mailman.
Right.
And that could possibly be them having like their little talk with her and Mephisto.
Right.
But I don't know, because that was the first and last time that I think we saw the mailman.
Yeah, I don't think he's made any appearance. For anyone wondering, at the end of the second episode where that dude jumps out of the sewers, as far as the internet and I know so far, that is not like a character. It's not a supervillain or anything. I think Wanda is just afraid of bees. and that's how she kind of saw that intruder as like a beekeeper, someone who like spends a lot of time with bees and stuff like that. I don't think that's supposed to be like any specific person.
I don't see anything about him. Like, he didn't show up on the cast list.
Really? Oh, what if they don't know? What if they don't want to credit him to something yet?
That's very true.
Like what if like the back of the season, you know, he's revealed to like pop out some fucking horns or something.
That was interesting that I just saw was Evan Peters was on the cast list for WandaVision.
Oh, that's even more exciting.
So we could be seeing Quicksilver in WandaVision.
Ooh, God, that's even more exciting. I would love to see.
And I wonder how they're going to do that.
up.
I wonder if it's just going to be her going through her memory bank.
What if Evan Peters isn't playing Quicksilver?
What if he's playing
Speed?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a possibility. That is a possibility.
I don't know much about Speed and like his personality and everything, but like we were talking about earlier, like the Quicksilver I grew up with wasn't really Evan Peters. But the way Evan Peters played him was so enjoyable to watch and like such a different take on the character that I really enjoyed watching it.
I'm still trying to find this guy's name. It is so hard to find his name for some reason.
That's so weird that they didn't give him any kind of like casting credit. Go to IMDb and look up WandaVision.
That's what I was on.
Oh wow. That's really, really
yeah, I clicked on
interesting.
cast and crew.
Oh, wow.
But I was kind of scrolling down here, and this could just be what some random person put on the internet, but it was just one of the recommended questions that says, who is the villain in WandaVision? And it says, Mephisto. And it says, in order to give her sons proper souls, Wanda used life fragments from a villain named Mephisto, who later devoured the babies to regain control of the fragmented souls embedded in their bodies.
Right. I think that happens in the comics. That might be...
Now, that might be a little... We might be stretching if that happens in the show.
Because I doubt that the MCU is going to dive really, really hard into the whole underworld devil kind of
And they don't
concept.
they don't usually follow the comics anyway. Because this is the MCU, they kind of twist some things.
Yeah, it's their own universe. Like, the MCU is not the 616 universe. A lot of people get that confused. It's a whole different universe. If it was a 616 universe, you know, we'd already have Fantastic Four and the X-Men and, you know, all this other stuff. So it's not the 616 universe, but it is, you know, it's basically the best way to put it. It's Kevin Feige's universe. Yeah. You know, what he says is what goes. But yeah, that's really, really interesting that he doesn't show up on the IMDb as anybody. Cause I mean, that's weird. Cause I mean, he obviously plays one of the neighbors, so why wouldn't they go ahead and credit him for that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to find this guy.
That is peculiar.
Now, Who do you think is the beekeeper guy that came out of the sewer?
Like I was saying a minute ago, I don't know that it holds a lot of
It could just be a shield, or not a shield, a sword agent.
He does have the emblem.
I think it just might have been a sword agent that made his way into the reality,
Right.
and then Wanda said no,
Maybe
and kicked him out.
doing a little recon at the wrong time, and Wanda found him.
Because in the third episode, we see that they're surrounding that reality.
Yeah.
Because whenever Monica Rambeau got kicked out, everybody was right there waiting for her.
That
to
little
get kicked out.
grouping of trees that you can see right behind where she gets shot out must be the epicenter for this.
And
this
another
reality.
theory is that it may have been the second episode whenever she was pregnant. Was she pregnant in the second episode?
She gets pregnant at the very end of the second.
Then it may have been in the third episode whenever her water breaks and it starts raining in the house.
That's the third.
And there was a really bright light that hit the house.
Yeah.
And they went back to each other and they had the stance. That was also a reference to one of the comic covers of WandaVision because they had that same stance on one of the covers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But I think that might have been from outside of the reality. They hit them with the spotlights. Because that might have been them finding the reality.
Or, maybe she's laid up on like a table somewhere and, somebody's got that doctor light in her face. Like,
I don't think that's a possibility because...
You don't think you don't think somebody's got Wanda captured?
I don't think so yet.
Because I do.
It may be Mephisto, if anybody, because I don't think
she's here on her own volition.
Because it's a reality that she created for herself, and we obviously see that they're surrounding that reality. But I don't think anybody has made it through because, like I said earlier, the reference to him cutting into the wall is them trying to break down the barrier to get inside.
Do you remember in the first episode where that lady cuts herself on the glass?
Yeah.
Do you remember what happens and why she does that?
No.
The radio starts freaking out and someone comes through the radio and they're saying, "Who's doing this to you, Wanda? Who's doing this to you? What's happening? Where are you? Who's doing this to you, Wanda?"
I wonder who that is talking to her.
It's got to be S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it's S.H.I.E.L.D. or not S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it's S.W.O.R.D. And I think because S.W.O.R.D. deals with...
They're supposed to be good guys, right?
No, they are. S.H.I.E.L.D. is... S.H.I.E.L.D. is...
S.H.I.E.L.D. is like the defensive side of the agency, and then S.W.O.R.D. is supposed to be like the ones that kind of go out and attack bad people.
Kinda. I mean, yeah, kinda. That's a good way. That's like a good outside way to look at it. What it really is S.H.I.E.L.D. is to protect Earth, and S.W.O.R.D. is
galactic.
Right. It's kind of like the galactic police type thing.
Kind of like Nova, but
yeah,
Earth's version of Nova.
Earth's,
they're galactic police.
Right. They're outskirts of space. That's what S.H.I.E.L.D. handles.
Dude, I might just give up on trying to find this guy.
Yeah, I think that'd be best. We're gonna get to the hour mark and be like, "Oh, his name's Todd."
I'm so curious now.
It's bizarre that he's not credited. Are any of the other neighbors credited? Or is he the only one that's not credited?
So far, okay, we haven't seen Kat Dennings. That's the lady that played in the Thor movies.
Right.
She's on this cast list as
like a report.
Darcy Lewis. Do you know who that is?
Is that who she played in the Thor movie?
I believe so. Wasn't her name Darcy?
I don't remember. I didn't watch much of the early Thor movies because it sucked.
Catherine Hahn, I think is her name, who plays Agnes.
Right.
Her name on here is just Nosy Neighbor.
Ooh.
It doesn't say Agatha on here. And then
in the lady, show it's Agnes.
Yeah, that's true. It doesn't say Agnes on here.
Well, a lot of people have been thinking about and talking about is if you take the person she's supposed to be, Agatha Harkness, if you take AG and NES and put them together, you have Agnes.
This is interesting. James Spader, his name is on here, and it says Ultron, but it says a voice. So maybe she gets sounds from Voltron through maybe the radio in a later episode.
Is he who voiced Ultron originally?
I don't know. I really don't know. Monica Rambeau is on here.
The black lady is Monica Rambeau?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's other people on here, but they don't have a like character name. All right, one moment. I think we're about to find out who our mystery character is. I think his name is Herb, the neighbor. It's not Ralph. It's Herb.
Maybe Ralph is the mustache dude, and he's Herb. That I think that sounds right. I think I remember that being that.
Yeah. Yeah, his name's Herb. Because I think I remember seeing a YouTube comment where somebody said that his name was Herb, not Ralph. Gotcha. I don't see any other like names that are popping out. A lot of these are just like random names of people, like technician, sheriff, EMT.
We haven't seen a sheriff yet.
No, but he will probably show up eventually.
Who's the actor connected to sheriff?
Brian Brightman.
Let me see a picture of him. I don't know who that is. One episode, 2021. Does that mean episode 1, or does that just mean he's in one episode?
Well, we know he wasn't in the first episode, so that's probably just it. They probably just show up in a single episode. Most of these are just one episode people.
Can I see that list?
Yeah. Some of these people are showing up for 4 episodes, 6 episodes. Jimmy Woo. Who was that?
Jimmy Woo. Talking about like an actor?
No, like in Marvel Universe, because that's what this guy's name is. Randall Park is playing it.
That sounds familiar. I'm not sure. My phone's dead if you want to look it up. Okay, so we have... Ooh, I know who the dude playing him is. Like, I know who Randall Park is, but I'm not sure who...
Could he be an agent? I feel like he was a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent.
Donnie Jones, Beverly, Agent. We haven't seen Agent Rodriguez yet.
Now, do you think that there's anything specific about the stork that shows up?
I think that was more or less just like a campy little, like, for the era TV type of gag, you know what I mean?
Because it was kind of interesting that she couldn't use her powers to get rid of it.
I don't think she couldn't. I think she was trying not to.
I think what it was is just like, I think it was just trying to reference that it was inevitable that she was gonna have the kids in that episode, pop maybe, or that it was inevitable that the kids were coming. I don't know. Maybe I'm stretching, but I'm not really sure. So,
okay, so here's something cool I just noticed on the IMDb. There's 2 children credited as commercial boy and commercial girl. I don't remember having a commercial with children in it yet.
Well, we're only on the 3rd episode. We have to remember that.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, do you remember any other commercials having kids in it?
No.
Because I don't.
Because every episode just has one commercial, right?
Is it 1 or 2? Because I thought the first 2 had 2 in them.
It could have.
But I might be wrong.
I only remember 2 so far.
There's the watch, there's the TV. Or no, there's the watch, there's the toaster, and the bathtub is the ones I remember.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that there was just one per episode.
Okay. We have 2 people credited as tap dancers. I'm thinking that's for the talent show. I don't think that's anything.
No.
Okay, this is pretty cool. A dude is credited as an orderly, which is like a nurse in a mental hospital. Or just like hospitals have orderlies, but like they're boring. Like the real cool orderlies are mental hospital orderlies.
So it could possibly be an asylum.
Right.
I don't know of any characters in the Marvel Universe that would be in an asylum.
Not many have ties to being just super fucking crazy.
Or maybe that's where Wanda is.
Yeah, maybe she's being held in a crazy house.
Could be, and it could be Hydra. I don't know, but I'm curious as to see how this is going to tie in with the Doctor Strange movie that we're supposed to get next year. And I believe that you said that you didn't think Marvel would really travel into the dark world type stuff. I think that they will with Doctor Strange, because I think Doctor Strange's villain is going to be Nightmare, and I think they're also trying to bring in more. I can't think of the word, but more of like the underworld, dark world type characters.
I mean, maybe they're trying to stray away from their like more kid-friendly villains, because honestly, I think, you know, Loki has his moments where he's funny and cute, and like people love Loki, you know, like he's a hero.
Yeah.
And then Thanos was like kind of like a step up from that, but still Thanos was like, to me, in the Marvel universe, Thanos, the way he was portrayed was like a schoolboy. You know, he was like, give me your lunch money, and then he used that lunch money to buy balance. But I think if, you know, maybe, well, with the recent news that Deadpool 3, which is going to be in the MCU and, you know, tied to the Avengers and, you know, the rest of everything else, it's going to be R-rated. You know, so there's a good chance that Marvel, you know, maybe does want to grow up a little bit and, you know, show the world that, like, they're not just superheroes for the sake of, like, entertaining kids. They're superheroes for the sake of superheroes. You know?
I think that they're just trying to diversify, and they're obviously going to keep, like, the action-packed, kid-friendly stuff so that it'll keep the kids entertained.
I think they'll always have, like...
But there's so many people that like that, like, dark...
Right. And,
like, the dark side of things with the... all of the, like, mythical and... like, just trying to solve the mystery type stuff that we're getting out of WandaVision.
Yeah.
You're having to look at so many clues and whatnot, and I think a lot of people like that, myself included.
Oh, yeah. I love every Friday morning, because it comes, like, where we live, it's, like, 3 in the morning when it drops or whatever.
I'm not up that early.
Yeah,
I get up, like, an hour later for work.
Yeah, I don't. I get up at 7. But... You know, when I get home from work that day, you know, I really look forward to sitting down and, you know, just
Fridays
out and watching
Fridays is like, I'm just waiting till I get off work so that I can go home and see that episode.
And just nerd out and see like what little mysteries
just
I
for
can
like
find.
30 to 40 minutes. I'm glued to the screen.
Okay, so since you brought up the 30 to 40...
You are always dropping something, man.
Since you brought up the 30 to 40 minute thing, I'm a let loose my one gripe that I have with the third episode, and maybe the first two I just don't remember out of like pure excitement. Plus, they were released together, so I probably didn't notice that much. The fucking credits of this show are 7 minutes long.
I think it was like that for all 3 episodes, and I hate that.
I don't give a shit.
What they do...
That is way too long.
Whenever I saw that it was like 7 minutes, I was like, okay, well, there's a good post-credit scene or something. But there wasn't.
Nothing.
There was
nothing at all. Dude, I checked, because I was watching I watched a good bit of the show, and I was like, this is kind of seems like it's ramping down. You know, how much more of this do I have? And I clicked on the thing, and it was like, oh, you know, I got 8 minutes.
Yep.
So, I watched a minute, and then the credits started. I was like, no, sir. No. Why?
And the thing I don't like about Disney Plus is that whenever I'm like trying to skip through and see what's coming, you don't have like a preview screen.
It's impossible to figure it out.
Yeah, you don't have a preview screen to see what's coming, so you just go forward 10 seconds, go forward 10 more seconds, just to see if there's something that's going to come up. Whereas on Netflix, you just can scroll through it and see the different like thumbnails or like the pictures that are coming into play. But yeah, 7 minutes of credits is a little much for a 30-minute episode.
Yeah, especially when it's not a 30-minute episode. It's like a 25-minute episode.
I really
7 minutes of credits.
I really feel like every episode has had credits like that, Because they do it in like every different language if you actually go through all of it. Like once it rolls out the English credits, it starts showing all of it in all the different languages.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I went all the way to the end and it
Maybe
was like
that's
showing
why
like
it's so
it was showing like German, Japanese.
Oh, I'd never noticed that. Maybe that's what the deal is, but yeah, I wasn't too happy about the 26-minute episode with a 7-minute credit.
Well, I thought if they were just going to do that, they would just have like different languages that you could choose to watch the show, so that if you had credits, it would just show it in your native language. If I'm watching the show
in New Zealand, I don't need to read the shit in German. I need to read it in New Zealand language, whatever they speak. I don't know what they speak. It's fucking iguana.
And with Doctor Strange, I've heard that there's going to be like more like heroes that are going to come into the MCU, and they're supposed to help Doctor Strange in this second movie. I feel like one of them is obviously going to be Wanda because she fits that role, and I think that they're going to bring somebody like Ghost Rider or even Damon Hellstrom. I would like to see Damon Hellstrom, and it would make sense for them to bring in Damon Hellstrom because Mephisto is going to be in WandaVision. Maybe Damon Hellstrom is... Because Damon Hellstrom doesn't like Mephisto. That's his dad.
Yeah, I was going to say it's his kid, ain't it?
And I don't think they like each other. I think Damon Hellstrom, he's the son of Satan, but he's like complete opposite.
He's like an anti-hero, I think. He's kind of like Venom. He's like, I'll kill you, but I'll do it for the right reasons.
Yeah, and I think maybe he will come into play, but
that'd be cool, because he's never really gotten any attention other than the comics.
No. I think the character is a very interesting character.
I have a very unpopular Ghost Rider opinion.
I don't know. I mean, I would like to see Ghost Rider come back.
I would love to see Ghost Rider come
but
back.
In the right way. Because I don't think the first Ghost Rider did too hot.
Oh, what? Oh, come on.
I watched.
This is my dream casting for a Marvel movie. I want to see crazy ass Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider with Blade and just some other. I want Hellboy to show up for no reason.
Dude, I am so glad that you said Blade because I completely forgot that they were bringing Blade back.
Yeah. And
I can't remember his name, but he played Cottonmouth in the Luke Cage series on Netflix, and he is such a good actor. I'm glad they picked him for Blade.
I did. Oh, that's just okay. I didn't even realize that he had done Marvel stuff before.
Yeah, he played the main villain in season 1 of Luke Cage. I haven't seen any of the other seasons. I think there's 3.
I didn't see any of them. I didn't know they had like.
Yeah, his name is Cottonmouth.
I know who Cottonmouth is.
And he's a really good actor, dude. He did such a good job in that first season.
I was gonna say who are the other villains in Luke Cage, but
I don't remember. I think there was like 2 or 3, maybe like some lower tier people that were working for Cottonmouth.
Probably some like Defenders villains.
Jesus, what's this guy's name?
It's something Ali. It's like Marshall Ali or something like that.
I really got to stop looking through my phone because it makes me so quiet whenever I'm determined to find somebody. Mahershala Ali, that's his name.
Mahershala.
That is a hell of a first name.
That is a cool first name.
It is.
I feel like you could be a cowboy and a cyborg. What's your name? Mahershala.
Cyborg cowboy.
Yeah. Mahershala. That's a cool name. It sounds like a car.
But I'm really looking forward to Blade again because
I think
the first Blade movies were good. Wesley Snipes did a really good job. I like those movies. I like vampire style movies.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Plus, that was like that trilogy or whatever you want to call it was the first time we got to see Ryan Reynolds being like in a superhero role because he was on Blade's team in the original movies.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Ryan Reynolds is in Blade Trinity as like some assassin dude with 2 katanas. I'm not gonna say he plays Wade Wilson, but he's very Wade Wilson-like.
Yeah. Who else would be in the Marvel universe?
I think.
2 katanas as an assassin,
played by Ryan Reynolds in this day and age. I mean, come on. But I'm not gonna say this as like a confirmed fact, but you know, maybe that's what Ryan Reynolds like. Maybe that's where he got his like taste of Deadpool.
Well, Deadpool came out in the 90s, right? Like comic wise.
Yeah, comic wise, he was a 90s.
And
character.
Ryan Reynolds said that he's always been a big fan of Deadpool. So
yeah,
maybe
Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds is the reason we have a Deadpool movie, and like the reason why Ryan Reynolds is like, or the reason why Deadpool is so like mainstream, and like we have Ryan Reynolds the thing for that. Deadpool would have never left the '90s if or if Ryan Reynolds wasn't.
Maybe he is the reason
hung up on it.
Maybe he was supposed to be a Deadpool character then. Maybe that's what Ryan Reynolds.
Saying.
Maybe that's what Ryan Reynolds wanted back in the '90s.
Yeah,
and they were just like, "Oh, we're not gonna do Deadpool. You think anybody's gonna watch this?" 20 years later,
plus,
here we are.
In the '90s, Deadpool wasn't Deadpool. Deadpool was like an asshole. Like he wasn't smart mouth. He was literally a Deathstroke ripoff. There was.
If
nothing...
I looked like that, I'd be an asshole too.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like an asshole. Like, literally an asshole.
Well, the inside of one, I wouldn't say it. Just the.
Why
outside.
do you know what the inside of an asshole?
I don't.
Why
I'm
does
just
the inside
guessing.
of your asshole look like Deadpool? I think it's just supposed to be all.
I wish I
slick and
knew.
pink.
I wish I could see the inside of it so that I could give you
Why
a
do you
good
wish
idea.
that? Can we change topics?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he's been hung up on it for so long. Is because maybe they gave him hey, you're gonna play like a vampire hunter assassin dude. Whatever. Maybe we don't really want to spend that much time doing this character. So why don't you do it, Mr. Reynolds? And he was like.
It's probably why Marvel is doing such a better job than DC, because they actually listen to their cast and fans.
Well, they do now.
Yeah.
Let's just put that on the table. Like everything Fox did, we're not talking about that shit.
No. Well, I wouldn't even say that Marvel really had much of a choice there.
Claymation Apocalypse.
Yeah, that was
bad. That was bad.
Yeah.
Nothing but bad. It was BAD bad.
But it's okay because Disney's buying the whole world. So
yeah, I mean, eventually we're going to have
DC
Superman.
is going to be part of Marvel at some point.
Yeah, I was going to say eventually we're going to have Superman versus Sentry.
If they do a movie where Justice League versus the Avengers, which by the way, Avengers are going to smack the shit out of them, that would be. There's no telling how much money they could possibly make off of that.
God, no, because I mean.
That movie might break $10 billion.
Oh yeah, it'd definitely break a record because you're taking. I mean, that's like putting the Bible and the Quran together.
But at the same time, you couldn't really determine a winner because if
if
you make one or the other lose, that whole fan base is going to be so pissed off.
They're going to be sore as fuck.
Yes.
And if Marvel loses, I will never fucking give them another dollar.
So, let's just talk about this for a quick second. If DC didn't have Superman on the Justice League team, they would not even stand a solid chance.
No, I think what would happen is they would all die, and then Wonder Woman would be like, "Oh, okay, well, my team's dead," and then she would just join Marvel.
I mean,
Wonder Woman's she's pretty strong.
Yes, they do have the Flash, and he's very vast.
Quicksilver.
Go into exactly.
We have 9 Quicksilvers.
Well, I'm gonna just clarify that. In my personal opinion, I think the Flash is faster than Quicksilver, even though I like Quicksilver more than I do Flash.
Same here. I think he's faster and stronger.
But I think Superman is at such a disadvantage because the Avengers have Doctor Strange and Wanda.
Dude, that's not even all we have. That's all we have in the movies.
Well, I know, but I'm just taking both cinematic universes.
Okay, from the cinematic, yeah.
Thor would not beat Superman in a fair fight.
It would be a fight.
But
don't count Thor. It would be because Thor doesn't give up.
It would be a fight,
Thor
but
has too much pride.
I'm giving the fight to Superman.
Oh, I would
because he has beat what's his name? Oh, he's like the DC version of Thanos.
Oh, Darkseid?
Yes, he beat
Darkseid would whoop the fuck out of Thanos too.
Yes. Without a gauntlet.
I don't know, bro. Darkseid's
he is the god of DC.
Pretty much. He's pretty much like the antithesis of
and Superman beat him. So I would give
Superman died beating him.
Yes, but
I mean he still won, but he died.
So I would give the Thor Superman fight to Superman.
Oh yeah.
But
I would too.
Superman's weakness is magic. We have two crazy ass.
Yeah, we basically have the best magicians ever.
Yes. So
DC's magicians don't hold a candle to our magicians.
I mean, Doctor Strange would make a portal to throw all of them into Wanda's reality, and then they would just all get crushed.
Just gonna fucking flick them.
Yeah. So I'm going with Marvel. Sorry to any of my DC fans that are listening to this. I love DC. They have really great characters.
Fuck you.
Yeah. Well, Okay, well, Elijah's an asshole. I don't know how I'm a friend with him, but I am.
I'll give you 3 spots for good characters. You got John Constantine, you got Swamp Thing, and you got some of the Green Lanterns. That's all I'm giving you.
Okay. Okay.
Batman's a pussy.
He's probably the only character that most people can relate to because he's the only one without a superpower. He's just rich. But they do make him so annoyingly powerful with the little bit of skills. That I wouldn't even say little bit of skills. He has a lot of skills, but with a little bit of like...
I wouldn't say Batman's overrated, but he's definitely...
They say he can bench press like 1,200 pounds. That's so fucking stupid. Ridiculous.
That's so stupid. He would need 3 bat suits to do that.
Yeah.
Like, there's barely humans. There's like maybe 1 or 2 humans alive today that can bench press 500. Yeah. And that's like a weightlifting, just massive muscle of a human.
Yeah.
I mean, for Batman's...
For someone to bench press half a ton, your biceps would have to be the size
and that's
of
like, I mean, I know this isn't a video podcast, but that's like up, down, done.
Yeah.
That's not like, ow, that's not up, down, up, down, up, down. Like, that's not a daily workout. That's all right, I've been working out for a half a year. Let's see if I can get this. 1, and then you're done forever. You lifted 500, you're done, you retire, you get old, and you die. That's it.
Yeah.
They're treating Batman like he's in there just like balancing it all on his finger, just like, oh yeah, this is easy. Oh yeah, I'm Batman. Like, I'll give you 4 places. Batman Beyond was always pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I liked him.
I thought, what was his name? Something G, something.
I don't know.
Terry.
What, like a different Batman?
Is it Terry Guinness? Terry McGinnis?
I only know 2 Batman, and that's Thomas Wayne and Bruce Wayne.
I'll give you 5 spots. Thomas Wayne's also pretty cool.
Yeah. He was like
I really like Thomas Wayne.
He was like an uncanny...
He was like
Batman.
If Batman didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Because he was the Batman that used guns, thank God. Like, why the fuck would Batman not use guns? You have billions of dollars and access to almost anything, and you choose not to use guns. I understand that Batman doesn't kill people, but some people might deserve it.
I'll give that one like motif a little bit of credit in the Batman Beyond series. When it shows how Batman retired and why he retired, it's because he was getting so old, like a burglar got the jump on him. So Batman took the gun from the burglar and shot him and killed him, and realized he's like, oh fuck, dude, I'm getting too old and I can't do this no more, and he retired. That to me was always like, because I saw that as a kid and was like, whoa, like that's fucked. Like Batman, oh god, poor Batman. You know, he's like, he was fucked up before, but now he's, oh god, like he probably needs therapy now. Like,
well, DC's always been on like the darker side.
Yeah, I've always tried to like bring people to like the darker side of Marvel, but the problem with that is you have to find it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to put in work to find that. Like, not so much now with like all the symbiotes getting love and all that, but like a while back, like Marvel was kind of squeaky clean, like as far as like,
well, hasn't X-Men always
X-Men's
always been kind of like the darker side, hasn't it?
It's always been more controversial. I wouldn't really say darker. When you get into like one-offs for characters, that's when Marvel really shines. One-offs for like it's really character based in Marvel as far as like who gets the R rating. Like people like Blade, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, you know, people like that who have fucked up lives, you know, who have like these stories of like anger and like just carnage and stuff like that. They have those. Like, we went to the comic book store today, the day we're recording this, and there's an issue of Wolverine that's called White, Black, and Red. And it's a black and white comic, completely black and white, except for all of the blood that's colored in red.
And that's probably on every page.
It's literally every panel. It has a little bit of red. It's a very good looking I ended up not picking it up because I'm poor, but
that's why we're making these podcasts. So
yeah.
one day we won't be poor.
Well,
hopefully you guys will help us out on that.
One day I can get that variant cover because that's what's important. Not all the bills I have to pay. That comic book I'll read once.
So I have one final thing I want to discuss before we end this podcast, and that is talking about the Doctor Strange movie to come. Do you think that there's a possibility that we might see a Midnight Suns?
That would be really cool.
Because I think
it would be.
I think the two characters that will already be a part of that is obviously Doctor Strange and Wanda.
Right. Yeah.
And we're getting a Blade show, so he could be a part of that. They all kind of fit that niche.
We're getting a Blade movie, is what I thought. Is it a show or a movie?
It could be a movie.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember. All I remember seeing is like the Blade title.
Yeah, that's true. It might be a show. I don't know. It might be a movie. I don't know. But yeah, with the Midnight Suns, you have a lot of cool characters that have fit that
Man Thing.
Yeah.
Damon Hellstrom would fit that.
Iron Fist did a little bit of time in that group, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe Daredevil.
I know Daredevil. Daredevil is like Batman without a vagina. So he was definitely on that team.
Dude, the DC fans are gonna hate us for
I
this
don't care. I want all the hate. Send me all your comments.
Listen, look, all of the hate can go towards Elijah. I do not hate DC.
You can go ahead and find me on Instagram at oblong triangle. You can go ahead and send all your hate mail there.
You don't have to say it because I'm gonna have it posted on the YouTube page.
Well, if they're DC fans, they might be illiterate and they might not be able to read it.
Good God, dude! I don't even think they're gonna watch this. They're gonna tell their friends to like dislike the video and get this kicked off of YouTube.
Oh God. No, I'm kidding. I actually own quite a few DC comics. I never really got into the whole. Superman was really what undid DC for me, because at the end of the day, there's nobody that can really beat Superman. As in the Marvel universe, you never really know what's gonna happen. Like, yeah, Wolverine's there, but all that has to happen for him to get beat up is Magneto show up, and all for him to get beat up is Charles to show up, and all for Charles to get beat up is Stairs. So it's just like this ever growing like it's like this.
That one hit me pretty good.
It's like this ever growing like what do you call it? Animal Kingdom type, like the feeding tree. What do you call that thing? Dude, I'm having a brain fart. Oh my goodness. The food chain. Yeah, it's like the evolutional food chain for mutants. It's just like where there is one that can defeat it. But to where in the DC universe, it just seems like where there is a Batman, there is a clown that he can punch in the face. You know, like where there is a Superman, there is a big spiky monster in space that he can punch. You know, where there is a Wonder Woman, there's another female bad guy that she can beat up, which is sexist. Why can't she beat up a guy? Right? The fuck? Also, why can't Wonder Woman be a dude? Just gonna put that out there.
Because Marvel has Wonder Man.
Fair enough. All right, that's actually a pretty good answer. I'll give you that one. This has been like a really long time ago in like one of the other movies, but there's a poster somewhere in the Marvel universe that says. Yeah,
I remember seeing it. I think it's in the first Captain America or something. Like, one of the movies that references like the 1940s, and it was like a poster in the background of one of the. It's one of the headquarters.
It's got a picture of Nathan Fillion on it, which is a very, very good actor. Very, very good. And I think I can't remember what the subtitle said, but it's got like Wonder Boy or Wonder Man's like real name on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in the Wonder Man suit, and it had Wonder Man's logo on it.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I just remember like a Wonder
every time you're saying poster. Something, I remember seeing a YouTube video that was talking about specific stuff like that.
Well, I'm glad you remember, because I barely remember any of this crap. And like you're saying, that was probably the first episode or the first Captain America movie. Which is also they
who's to
have
say
they have a Human Torch reference in there.
Yeah.
They have his first suit in the museum.
I mean, who's to say that we won't get Wonder Man? There's so many characters
cool.
that could be introduced in Phase 4 of Marvel.
Cool. I think Nathan Fillion, which is the actor they like kind of teased with the poster or whatever, I think he'd be perfect for that role.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like, well, you ain't seen Wonder Woman 84 yet.
Nope.
The Mandalorian's portrayal,
but I'm pretty sure
that movie, as whatever his name is, Pedro Picasso or whatever, his role in that movie.
Is he the villain?
Yeah. It's like Maxwell Lord or something like
Yeah.
that. Which is the way they do it in the movie, man. He is that was like one of the few DC movies I really enjoyed watching.
Cheetah was in there too, right?
Yeah, they did Cheetah pretty good. I wish they would have done her suit, her costume, her look a little bit better, because like she's only Cheetah for like 10 minutes.
Probably
really.
like CGI or something.
It was CGI, but it was done good. But I think it was so expensive they couldn't have it on the screen for very long. So she's not Cheetah for very long, but still a very good character. Very, very, very intelligent the way they did her character, because it's like, it's this girl, you know, I ain't gonna spoil anything, but it's Kristen Wiig, which is like, she's very, very good at playing comical, nerdy characters, like outcast kind of people, and that's what she plays in this movie. And then she gets a hold of an artifact that gives her, you know, some powers, and then she realizes, you know, what it's like to have that kind of power, like that Wonder Woman has, and she's like,
"You're giving away too much, man. I haven't seen the movie yet."
Well, nothing I've said.
I know, but
like
you're just. I feel like you're about to build up to it, so I just.
No, I'm just. It's. Well, now I don't remember where I was at, but like, anyway, she gets this kind of power, and the shift in like, from just like comical derp to like villain is so expertly done that like you need to see it. But that's all I was gonna say. No spoilers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were building up to like something crazy that's about to happen, and I was just.
And
like,
then she
oh.
finds Magneto's helmet. Oh, wrong
Wrong universe.
Yeah, wrong universe. My bad. And then she finds something from DC. I don't know anything. Sorry.
I'm still patiently waiting for Black Widow to come out.
Me too.
The movie's been done for what feels like 2 years now, and
It's
still
at
hasn't.
least been a year, a little bit over a year.
Still hasn't come out. We got Wonder Woman. I thought that they were going to release the Black Widow movie to kind of counter.
Compete with that.
Yeah.
You know, since those are like Marvel and DC's like big broads. You know, the two big like female breadwinners of the universes.
I'm also curious what they're going to do with Black Panther now that
I've heard that
Chadwick is rest in peace, by the way.
Yeah, rest in peace. Forever, King, love you. That made me so sad.
I wonder if his sister is going to be the new Black Panther.
I've heard that they're not recasting, which is the right way to go. I don't think having someone just step in and be like, "Oh, I'm T'Challa now."
Yeah,
that would be the same thing as if like RDJ got arrested again and someone stepped in and was like, "I'm Tony Stark." I'm like, no,
yeah,
fuck, you're
it's
not.
kind of disrespectful.
It is, you know, it's tearing down everything. And granted, you know, Chadwick only had one movie that was his.
Yeah,
but he was also in pretty much all the other movies that were like concrete. And
he was in 4 movies. Really, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he only had one movie to himself, but he was still like, it's kind of like Spider-Man,
a big concrete like part of the team and a part of the universe, and like the storytelling and everything. Like,
it's honestly like Winter Soldier. I mean, even down to him, Sebastian. I forget his last name. I think it's Stan.
Shaw or Stan or something.
I feel like he has done such a good job too that like even somebody on his level that's not like a main character. I mean, like, yes,
Right.
he plays a big role because he's Cap's best friend.
Yeah.
But like, you just can't replace anybody. There's like nobody that can be replaced.
It's like I don't remember if you said it on this podcast or when we were talking earlier, but Chris Evans said in an interview one day that it's just so hard to replace these people that you spent, you know, 10, 15 years with, as to where DC changes Batman every year, and it's just well, I mean, I'm not like, this isn't even like a grab at them or anything. It's just, it's easier to switch role, or not switch roles, but to see someone as Batman, so like to see Batman go through so many different faces, it's easier when it's a common thing as to where Marvel, Iron Man's been Iron Man for, like I said, 10, 12, 13, however many years he's been Iron Man. He's been Iron Man for that long ass time.
Yeah, it's like DC.
That's a decade. That's a whole entire kid's life.
It's like DC has done a good job. Well, I wouldn't even say a good job at making movies, but it's like they focus more on just producing something for people to go out and see for like a one time done type thing.
And then Marvel
like, is doing such a good job
Marvel's like, I want you to watch this movie every week for the rest of your life.
We want you to invest and form a bond with these characters. Because in doing so, it's going to keep you invested for years to come.
Well, it makes you care.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
You form an attachment with these characters.
Like if they ever did a movie where Superman died, I'm sure it would be emotional. Because they would probably do something where Lois Lane was like, oh my god, no.
Superman did die. I mean, yeah, he came back in the next movie, but I didn't give a fuck about him dying.
Yeah,
because
I didn't even know he died.
Because I knew he would come back.
And I've seen the movie.
I knew he would come back because the only two fucking people that DC ever makes is a Superman or Batman movie, and every now and then Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And whenever it comes to Marvel... When Tony Stark died, the whole world cried.
Yeah, everyone was upset.
Because it has been the same person since 2008.
That was the crazy.
We all knew that he wasn't coming back, and if they bring him back, I'm gonna be pissed off because it's gonna do a disrespect to his character.
Oh yeah, if they bring him back, it better be in like an AI like message that he left, Pepper or something.
If they bring him back and he's like back, I'm gonna be very mad.
If they bring him back and he's like back, he better realize what his old self did and retire immediately. Yeah. Because that would be the only logical thing to fucking do. Like, I saved the world from fucking Tinky Winky. I'm gonna go over here and join this Cap bullshit where I just fucking hang out with Peggy all day for 100 years and then come back.
And
old as shit.
For Captain America, if Captain America returned and it was like Chris Evans as him and not like an old man... I wouldn't be as mad, but I'd still be mad.
I would be
because it would be...
It wouldn't make sense, first of all.
I mean, one way that they could do it is they've already found ways of time travel.
Yeah, I guess.
But just leave it as it is because it's a beautiful way. It's beautiful and sad at the same time, but it's sad in a good way. So just leave it as it is.
Americans have too much of a, like, once a good thing comes to an end, they're like, no!
They demand...
I want more!
Yeah, they demand more from that specific person.
Things die, and that's just kind of how life works.
Yes,
and so when
and that's what makes it beautiful. So you got to leave it as it is.
You got to let them run.
You got to move with the times. You got to move into the next, next wave of characters.
I mean, it's crazy how much grief you go through when like a character dies on screen that you spent that long with.
But that's why I buy the movies, man. That way that I'm always gonna have them.
Yeah, Iron Man will always survive through me.
Like if I start having those feelings where I want to see Iron Man, I got the movies right here. I'll just go watch them.
And that's another thing about DC. Like I'm not really trying to drag y'all through the mud and the fire, but I could watch Superman die 1,000 times and never drop a tear. I can watch about 2 seconds of Iron Man just looking blindly, like with his face all ashed up and a little bit of blood, and I'm tears rolling, boy. It's like a machine gun of fucking water coming out of my face.
And it's so crazy because for someone like me, you have always been a big fan of just Marvel in general. Always read the comics.
I was very little.
I didn't give a shit about it until I was like 20. The movies have been out, and they've come on TV whenever I was a kid, but I was like, you know what, fuck this. This is cool, I guess, but where's Star Wars at? Yeah. So, when I first started getting into it, there's a guy that I work with, his name's Tommy, and he is just a very big Marvel fan, and he got me into it, and I started watching all the movies, and I just fell in love. Yeah. The movies are just that good, and it started getting me into reading some of the comics, looking into more of the details on YouTube videos and theories and everything else.
Being born in 1999 was a bigger blessing than I realized because it gave me about 7 years to read and figure out who my favorite comic book character was. And then
Iron Man came out in 2008. So I was about 7 or 8, depending on like when it came out. And then, you know, I got to grow up with like every so often, like every year or two, we would get a new one, and then a new one, and then a new character, and then an ensemble, and then it just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And like you said, you know, you found out and like you loved it when you were 20. I found out I loved it when I was 5, and now I'm 21. And I still love it just as much.
Yeah.
Like I still get like I still do the fucking like
they
waving
keep,
my hands.
They
and
keep outdoing themselves, man.
They really do, and that's the best part about Marvel is that they realize that they're outdoing themselves, and they also realize that they have to keep up that like they're to Marvel or like just Marvel Studios like. Marvel Studios could produce a movie that had nothing to do with superheroes, and it would still be a fucking bang out movie. It would still be a good movie with good story and good characters and good dialogue, you know, even if it wasn't about superheroes.
I think the reason why DC just doesn't compete is because, for one, they just never introduce other characters to their cinematic world.
Yeah, it's always the Justice League.
And it's like they reboot the series or like the person's story every 3 to 4 years. Like, Marvel has just had a continuous run of like what's next.
And all of them stitched together.
Yes, and it just keeps running into the future. Like, they never say like, oh, here's Iron Man 1 and 2. Now let's go back to Iron Man 1 and do it all over again.
Yeah, like because with DC, you know, you have like we said earlier, you have like all 9, 10 Batmans, all 3 or 4 Supermans, all 2 or 3 Green Lanterns,
and they all tell the same story.
Yeah. Well, come on, Aaron. They're all different. But no, yeah, Batman's parents always die. He always gets fucking into the suit, and that's it.
Yeah.
Kal-El always crashes on Earth, becomes Superman, finds out that he's like not some normal ass human, and then lifts a truck.
Yeah,
then, you know, that's that.
The only thing that I feel like they've done that's had like a continuance is they did they did Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, and then they did Justice League.
Those are the only ones that link together.
Yes, and they were shit.
I'm pretty sure Suicide Squad, the first one, is technically connected to that because I think the Batman that appears in that is Ben Affleck, which would connect it. Which sucks for that series because that means the Joker in that universe is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
It's that fucking SoundCloud rapper Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is the Joker.
Yeah.
Like that, like he's only been in one movie, but he will now forever be like him and Heath Ledger are like equal in my mind as like portrayers of the Joker. Cause you have like this smooth, suave, kind of still insane, uncontrollable laughter. Have you seen Joker?
Not the Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh god, it's so good. But yeah, you have this like for Joaquin Phoenix, you have this like uncontrollable, like just like crazy, not popular, you know, failure, outcast. You know, he's got these like has like an actual medical disease where like he can't control his laughter. So like certain emotions he'll just replace with laughter. So if he's like crying, he'll laugh. If he's mad, he'll like mad laugh and like shit like that. But he's like because it like takes place in like the 70s, right? Because Batman's like a boy, like he still has his parents and stuff, and it takes place like in the like I just said, the 70s. I don't know why I repeated myself, but I think it did such a better job of like doing the Joker, even though it was like a different time period-esque Joker, than like Heath Ledger, as to where like Heath Ledger is just like, yeah, he's crazy, but you don't really know why he's crazy. He's just kind of there to be crazy. You know why Joaquin Phoenix is crazy, because it shows you every 2 seconds what fucked up things in his life made him crazy. Like, there's a whole subplot that I won't spoil for you that, like, if your eyelids don't retract to the back of your eyeballs and your jaw doesn't go through your floor, I don't see how, like, what kind of fan of what you are, but like, it deserves that much of, like, in a reaction. Because it is... Wow.
Well, I highly doubt it's ever going to come to Netflix, and
No,
never ever going to go to Disney Plus.
No. Well,
But-
Disney doesn't own DC, so
Yeah, so
that wouldn't make sense.
if I ever see it, it's going to have to be either at somebody's house or I have to
Yeah.
buy the movie. So hopefully one day I'll get to see it so that we could possibly talk about that in a later episode.
I plan on getting it. So if I get it, like whenever I do get it, I'll let you see it.
Okay.
Because I plan on owning that movie. There's very few movies that come out these days that I give a shit about and like want to buy. Like the only movie I've bought recently was Endgame, and the next one I plan on buying is Logan. So
I have that one.
well, that's just what I'm saying. Like you can obviously see the gaps.
Yeah.
Like I missed everything from X1 to Logan.
Usually every time I go to Walmart or
Blank
Target, I just
to
take like a
Endgame.
little stroll through the movie section and see what's on sale.
I just don't like
Whichever
it.
Marvel movie's on sale, I'm like, ooh, I don't have that one. Let me grab that.
I'm gonna have to start looking at the on sale side because I don't want to pay $30 for a Blu-ray edition.
No, usually like every month they have like one of the 20 something episode or 20 something movies that Marvel has. One of them, at least one of them, will be on sale for like $10, $10 or $15, I would say.
Okay, I'm gonna have a little gripe again. I know I had my gripe earlier with the credit scene in WandaVision. I am so like tired of seeing people, like for example when Chadwick died, like all the Black Panther action figures went up about $50. All the comics involving him went up about around the same amount that were like already out, like classic stuff. I get it, like I really do, but like y'all are raising the prices on Black Panther figures and comics that don't have anything to do with Chadwick. Like he played MCU Black Panther, not comic book Black Panther.
That's just salesman.
I know.
That's just how they do it, man.
And
Because
it's
once-
really not even the salesman's fault because they can do it because we allow them to do it and we pay for the shit. If you would just stop paying for the shit, they'd stop doing it, and we could all have Chadwicks.
Well,
in
if
our
you
house.
think about it, like Deadpool, Black Panther, hell, Aquaman,
Yeah.
all that stuff, movies, or not movies because they never really made any of those movies, but comics and toys of those specific characters that were never big names, they were all just like very cheap. And then once they made movies of all of them,
Oh yeah. Oh,
everything skyrocketed.
I mean, like I said, from like whenever he passed away, the figures of any Black Panther figure went up a lot, but it also went up when they released his movie.
Yeah.
You know, when I'd buy a lot of Marvel Legends, I don't really buy much of the like other Black Series, Star Wars or DC, McFarlane DC.
Yeah, a lot of the first
figures.
editions of those comics were like $20 to $30, and now they're in the hundreds.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of comics out that have and a lot of comic book artists did this, but a lot of newer books have Chadwick Boseman, either like a mural painted in the back for him, or like just kind of some kind of remembrance for him. And the same thing happened when Stan Lee died. They had just released a Stan Lee Marvel Legends figure, and it went up. I think if you want to buy one now, you're gonna have to like pocket or like get about $300 some out of your pocket for a 6-inch piece of plastic with a Captain America shield that has like his.
Well, I guess
signature
I
on
could
it.
just go for anything that was made from like this year or last year back.
Yeah.
Anything with his name on it is probably going to be more than what it was originally.
Dude, there's comic books that he's like signed at like Comic Cons that will go for like $1 million now.
Yeah.
Just because he's not here no more.
Well, we've definitely had a long run today, but I think we probably go ahead and stop on that note.
I think we got through a lot.
But we'll definitely have more episodes because we could talk for hours upon hours, and there's going to be more to talk about whenever more WandaVision episodes come out.
We didn't talk much about the Mandalorian, and
Yeah, we meant to touch up on that.
we're probably going to try to get out at least record an episode next weekend detailing our thoughts about Mandalorian, just because I don't want to get too far away from that before we talk about it, because then I'm going to have to rewatch it.
So next week we'll probably touch up on Mandalorian and the new episode of WandaVision whenever it drops next Friday.
Yeah, we can rope those two together.
So just stay tuned to be looking forward for the next episode. Thank you guys for watching this one. Like and subscribe if you would. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike, comment.
If you didn't like it, you're a DC fan.
That's very true. That's probably what our dislikes are going to come from. All thanks to you, Elijah. But leave a comment, leave your theories.
Any press is good press.
Leave down your theories in the comment section, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, that's what I want. Leave your theories about what you think. Sorry, there's a cherry in my mouth. Leave your comments and theories about like what you think is going to happen in the next like episodes of the WandaVision, or maybe you think it's a different villain than what we think. Whatever you think, let us know so we can talk about it.
Yep, just put it all down in the comments. Leave a like. Please subscribe if you would, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.